Welcome to BrizoConsol Academy. Today, we'll talk about the concept of multi-currency and CTA. When a group has entities operating in different countries, those entities keep their books in their own local currency. A US entity reports in USD, a UK entity in GBP, a Singapore entity in SGD. But the group as a whole needs to report in one currency, its presentation currency. Before consolidation can combine these entities, every entity's figures need to be translated into that single group currency. Translation isn't a single flat conversion. Different parts of the financial statements use different exchange rates. P&L items, like revenue and expenses, are translated using the average rate for the period, since they accumulate over time. Balance sheet items, like assets and liabilities, are translated using the closing rate at period end, since they represent a snapshot in time. This distinction matters because it's the source of the next concept, the CTA. Because P&L and balance sheet items are translated at different rates, the two sides of the consolidated balance sheet won't naturally balance after translation. There's a small mismatch purely caused by using different exchange rates for different lines. That mismatch is the Cumulative Translation Adjustment, or CTA. It isn't a real gain or loss from operations. It's an accounting consequence of translating a multi-currency group into one presentation currency. The CTA sits within group equity, absorbing that difference so the balance sheet balances. There's a second source of translation difference. Equity items, like share capital and retained earnings brought forward, aren't translated at the closing rate or the average rate. They are translated at the historical rate, the rate in effect when that equity was originally created or earned. So a subsidiary's opening retained earnings, for example, stay fixed at the rate from when those earnings were first recognized, while everything else in that period uses current rates. This is another source of the mismatch that flows into the CTA. The CTA balance moves period to period as exchange rates move. If your foreign entity's local currencies strengthen against the group's presentation currency, the CTA typically increases. If they weaken, it typically decreases. Because this is automatic, you don't calculate or post the CTA yourself in the normal course of consolidation. BrizoConsol does it as part of every period's automatic consolidation. In the next clip, we'll look at where the CTA appears in BrizoConsol and how to review it.